Alright guys, it's happening. We have got the official release of the PTB for the artist. We'll start off by talking about the old survivor, Jonah Vasquez. To me, just like a grown-up ace, Hispanic ace, I don't know. So, tragic backstory is he loves numbers, gets attracted by numbers, commits war crimes, goes to a graveyard, gets taken by the entity. Feels bad, man. First perk that comes is Overcome. It is an exhaustion perk. What happens is when you get injured, you have a bonus movement speed for 2 seconds longer. So obviously when you get hit, you get that extra speed boost as you're running around. With Overcome, you're going to get an additional 2 seconds. I think this is kind of fun because it allows you to create more distance, which is always a bonus. And also, people who get accustomed to how far somebody runs in a game, you're able to go from loop to loop a little bit more consistently. You can get out of a bad area more consistently. Obviously, you have more control of when you get hit with Sprint Burst because you're able to go, but also you're walking around the map, and so this allows you to have some of that Sprint Burst, viability because you're losing half of the time. Sprint Burst goes for 4 seconds of that fast speed. But with the 2 seconds longer on Overcome, you get the additional sprint burst from getting hit, plus 2 seconds longer. Potentially could become really, really fun to use. The objective of using things like Dead Hard is to get from, to a tile or to dodge an attack. And if you can get into a position where you don't even need to stick around, you just press W and get to a different tile, clear space, get out of range of a Pyramid Head, Huntress. This is a good, average to above average perk depending on how it's used and how it's played. Corrective Action, this is just a noob perk, but helpful in some cases, I'm sure. Unless there's some synergies that I'm not thinking of with failed skill checks from other players and you. If that's the case, then this could have some potential viability in that sense, but I can't think of anything that could tie together with failed skill checks other than Technician, but Technician is meant to have failed skill checks and move things in that direction, so we'll have to space that out unless the troll metal becomes so strong that you have to have this so that you can actually get stuff done before somebody comes and tries to beat your gen up, I guess. But essentially what happens, you start a trial with 3 tokens, you get up to 5, you get a token for every great skill check you get. If you're doing a cooperative action on anything and a fellow survivor fails a skill check, instead you use a token and it becomes a good skill check. So essentially if somebody fails a skill check, Harrison's feeling himself and trying to hit the great skill check and keeps missing. So in a corrective action, it would instead turn into a good skill check and he continued to ride that train on trying to hit the great skill checks. So again, this is pretty much terrible. But I guess if you're playing with new players, introducing someone to the game, it's a great way to, mitigate their mistakes, I guess. And then last but definitely not least, we have Boon Exponential. You boon a totem just like the other boon totems from Michaela Reed, except for this gives you Unbreakable to anyone within a 24-meter range. So you heal faster, 100% faster actually, so you do it in double the time, and then you completely recover from the dying state with no limit to how many times you can do that. So yes, the boon can be broken by a killer, but this is insane. This is stupid amounts of good. One person with this running around and just putting it on a boon where you're working, someone gets, slugged at all or doesn't immediately get picked up, they're going to be up and off the ground with absolutely no problem at all. And, you combine that with, someone healing you with We're Gonna Live Forever, or if you have, Circle of Healing, the other boon from somebody else in that rate, there's 2 totems that overlap. This perk is way too good, in my opinion. I mean, run this in solo queue, and you'll get some niche opportunities, because Unbreakable obviously can work anywhere on the map, and but you only get to use it once. So this, obviously, you have to be in the limit of the 24-meter range, yes, and it also can be broken by a killer where, Unbreakable can be used so long as you're left on the ground. But the fact that this has technically infinite uses, as well as being movable, so if it gets broken, a totem gets unbooned by a killer, you can put this out. Yes, 24 seconds to boon a totem is also a long time, but man, for the benefit that you get for this, especially in like a Survive with Friends or an opportunity, it changes the way the game is played substantially. You cannot, go for greedy plays as often if you know this is a thing or a potential of being a thing. And so this perk is top tier in my mind. Potentially better than running Unbreakable even in solo queue. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But again, those are his 3 perks. We're going to move over to the killer, which is the artist. Tragic backstory. her brother died in a river when she was watching him. Feels bad. She goes to commit suicide. Crows come down to her. She feels like the crows are telling her not to do it. So she goes home, becomes a painter, very famous. Company reaches out to her. She finds out the company's corrupt, so she decides to fight them from within. Company finds out, takes her to a beach, chops her hands off, chops her tongue out. So she can't talk. She can't recite poems. She can't draw. And then a bunch of crows come down and kill everybody. And she gets sucked up by the fog. So the power of the artist is pretty insane right now. Essentially, you get what's called Birds of Torment. So you charge an ability and you put into a straight line birds that fly indefinitely through any object on the map. And so she has an internal ability to strike a player and actually do damage to them, or she can scout across the map. So, for instance, you could be across the world and look at a generator, put up a Birds of Torment, launch them, and then you'll know if a survivor is on that gen because they are going to get the icon of birds flying around their head. And you'll know that there's somebody in that area. Now, the interesting thing is once they are afflicted by what's called a dire crow, so they have the little birds flying around their head, as a survivor, you have to repel them, so you just hold down mouse button. It's just like breaking the chains from Pinhead. And essentially, while they're around you, you're limited in your abilities. And also, if you get hit by another one, you take a damaging hit. And so this killer has information in her kit, being able to look at generators, but also she shuts down short loops and like cross loops very, very well. So like TL walls where you have, the pallet on the one side and a window on the other, and you can run a loop and get at the window. She can shut that down simply by putting a line of her power in that direction and then launching it when a killer tries to take advantage of it. And so she's right now feels very, very strong. The fact that her birds go infinite, you can hit people randomly, the fact that you can hit people from any space and shut down these short loops, you can take down chases, essentially the way to combat her is to move from tile to tile whenever she starts setting up and trying to mind game her in that regard, and that's the game that the survivor and the killer play, which is really, really cool. The last little kind of feature about it is every time you summon a dire crow, which with your base kit you get 3, there's a way to get 4 and there's a way to get 2 via add-ons, but essentially the dire crows have it looks like about a 10 to 12 second timer where they stay active and then they'll disappear, and every time you summon a new line, you get a refresh on that timer, because the timer for the second one applies to the first one and so on. So technically, you can put one out, wait 10 seconds, put a second one out, wait 10 seconds, put a third one out, and you'll have that entire time of locking down that space. And then you're trying to either hit a survivor or capture a survivor. And then lastly, if a survivor runs, you'll notice when you're playing against the artist, there's a crow head that shows a opaque line. And if you run into the crow head, you actually take away her ability to use that space when she tries to fly that birds off. And so a survivor can technically run into it, play that game where if she summons the birds and they fly out, then you get hit, but if you hit the front of the bird, then you can remove that from the map for that time period and try to play that way too. So some counterplay, but she feels very strong and she feels very, very oppressive in that sense. Obviously time will tell. People are learning how to play against her. She could be just above average, but right now she feels as strong as Blight or the Nurse. She feels very fun to play. And she feels very, very, she's just strong. I guess that's the best way to put it. She is strong, and it's not even oppressive because there is a way to play against her, but you can't mess with her. She'll punish you very, very quickly playing in a traditional way like you would other, M1 or style killers. So, Nemesis can't hit somebody until they're infected. She can't hit somebody, until they have a second crow, at least with her second ability. But she is also a 115 killer, so she moves at normal speed as everyone else. She's average height, 32 terra radius, so everything there is normal. And so you kind of are able to, gain distance basically when survivors are trying to dodge your crow and do anything else, and you get to take advantage of that whole situation, which is awesome. Her 3 perks, I think all 3 of them are actually pretty fun. First one is Grim Embrace. This is kind of a mid-game play, so you get a token every time you hook a survivor, just like Barbecue and Chili or No Way Out. And once you reach 4 tokens, you will block all generators for 30 seconds, and the Obsession's aura is revealed to you for 4 seconds. Now, this is going to be cool on a lot of killers, but it's particularly great on her because, remember, you can shoot your birds infinitely through the map. And so you can line up a shot and hit somebody from across the map with your Obsession in those 4 seconds. Still, I don't think this is going to be a top-tier perk. It's nice to go with, it's nice to have Gen Slowdown, which is the theme of her entire kit, is Gen Slowdown, which is awesome. Or, sorry, not her kit, but her perks. And but it's tough because getting 4 tokens is not that difficult, and it encourages you to go after each survivor. It discourages camping and trapping and things like that. But 30 seconds is just not quite long enough, I think, to have an impact on the game. I wish it was 40 or 45 seconds, or 3 tokens from survivors rather than 4. Either way, it is a fun perk. It's got good flavor, and I think that there's some potential with it for certain. Now we have Hex Pentimento, and so what this perk does is anytime that a survivor breaks a totem, not boons, but when a totem is broken, it now is revealed to the killer, and you'll see the aura of a destroyed totem, and you'll perform a ritual, you'll make a new one, and basically the totem will now act as a hex totem in its place. And what happens is for every rekindled totem that you have, you get an ability. The first one decreases the survivor's healing speed by 30%. And so this used to be repair speed. They've actually nerfed it within the day. 1 and 2 were actually swapped. So, which is a bummer, because the way it was before it got nerfed in a day it was survivor's repair speed was the first one, and then healing. But either way, you get strong thanatophobia, basically, on survivor's healing by 30%. It's just massive, being able to increase that by, depending on if they're self-healing, increase it by 9 seconds. If somebody else is healing, you're increasing it by 5.5. And so that's really, really strong. If you can get 2 totems, though, on the map, you decrease survivor's repair speed by 30%. That's insane. You're essentially getting, all the benefits of Ruin while they're on it, and, keeping them there. And so if survivors are split, if they're trying to do things, you're adding 24 to 30 seconds, onto that gen. If there's 2 or 3 people on it, you're adding anywhere from 15 to 21 seconds, and that's pretty nutty. Then if for whatever reason you get a 3rd and a 4th one, you can reduce their recovery speed by 30%, which is awesome. Obviously a clear indication of fighting, the boon exponential coming from Jonah, or, even Unbreakable and things like that. The 4th totem decreases exit speed opening gates by 30%. Could be useful in the end, but if you can get all 5, then all totems are blocked, and that means the little black thing comes out of the ground, much like Pinhead's perk, which name is escaping me right now, but the one where once you hook somebody, you're oblivious until you can break the totem, and then for everyone else, the totem is covered by the entity, and you can't touch it. And so, and then once a rekindled totem is removed, you can't touch it again. So essentially, if you make a rekindled totem, let's say you get to 3 of them, somebody breaks one of your rekindled totems, you'll never get to 5 because it's gone permanently. And so I love this perk. I think this is a great slowdown. It's a nice flavor taste to slowing down survivors. Because a lot of the time you may get a start, you start with Corrupted Intervention or something that causes the survivors to not necessarily have an open place. What is the first thing they do? They go and destroy totems. And so you can go in and create these kind of, game-changing scenarios where you go in and start making these hex totems on the map and, extend the game to a period where you can have an impact, which I think is cool. I love this perk. I think it's awesome. And it's nice that it can't be affected until you as the killer, you're putting the risk out on the map. You get to have the tempo choice, when you make those rekindled totems, it's not from the get-go. So on the one hand, the perk doesn't do anything until the totem is rekindled. So, it's an empty perk slot until that happens. But on the other hand, you can't, it's not necessarily incredibly RNG based outside of, survivors actually breaking down totems, which if you have a build that forces them to, then you can start moving that direction. Things like Devour Hope and other things like that, and then just hope that there's not 40 boon totem or perks in the game. Lastly, Scourge Hook. So Scourge Hook was introduced with Pinhead. When a hook goes white, it means that it has an additional ability based on your perk. This one is another regression perk for generators. What happens is that if you put a survivor on a random hook, then what happens is the most progressed generator will instantly lose 15% and start to regress, and survivors repairing the generator will scream, revealing their location. So you get information immediately on who's on the generator, and remember, the most progression either means that they're leaving it 90 to 99 so they can come back and tap it real fast to avoid a 3-gen situation, or they're working on it right then and there and trying to finish it. So this could buy you enough time, surging off of a burst like that, 15%, plus it immediately starts to regress. The survivors can get immediately back on it, and depending on how close you are, they might not be able to make up that time, and then you'll be able to start smacking people around and dispersing them and wasting that time, or they have to leave immediately because you're going to put pressure elsewhere on the map. And so I love this perk too. I don't think it's nearly as effective as Pentimento. It does have a more immediate effect, but you have to knock somebody down, and so there's some plays to be had in there. None of these are going to be like must-have perks to run. But I think Pentimento is strong and a different way to play the game, and allows, once people start figuring out boon totems and like how to affect those, and totems actually start getting broken, Pentimento will have a huge place in the game. And I think Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance alongside one or two more perk slowdown, can affect the game in a pretty amazing way. Her add-ons, going from right to left. So the Killer Instinct appears when somebody walks near your crows, and they don't actually interact with it. And so if you launch them or they get close enough to them, you'll get the Killer Instinct, and so that'll last for 1.5 more seconds. When you're a survivor with a Dire Crow effect on you, obviously you have to repel them off you, so it increases it by half a second. Increases the Dire Crow's Killer Instinct detection range by 1.5 meters, so you can use this when you launch those crows or whatever, and if you still don't hit them, you'll at least get the intel of where they are. Chocolate Corn increases the time Dire Crows stay idle before disintegrating, so it just increases that time that I told you where when you launch a new Dire Crow, it refreshes the timer on the other one, so it gives you a little bit more space to create those or move around. When the survivor attempts to repel the Dire Crow swarm, their aura is visible for an additional 1.5 seconds. So you're seeing these crows swarm around them. You'll be able to get more intel from that even through walls. When Dire Crow swarms a survivor, it afflicts them with a hinder status for 1.5 seconds. So this is awesome. It helps you to break that distance whenever they are hit by a Dire Crow. So when you're in those short loops and things like that, it can help to end those chases a little bit faster. Still Life Crow increases the time Dire Crow stay idle before disintegrating by 4 seconds. So that brown item was 2, this one's 4. You can technically get 6 additional seconds every time if you're struggling with getting those loops set up and actually getting the value from them. Festering Carrion decreases Bird of Torment cooldown time by half a second after a Dire Crow takes flight. So again, once you shoot your birds off, there is a cooldown period before you can use them again. That reduces that time. Automatic Drawing decreases Birds of Torment by 1.5 seconds after Dire Crow disintegrates from activity. So that's just if you choose not to use them and they just leave, then you get to reduce that cooldown as well, which makes it actually pretty consistently fast, because the cooldown when you use them is longer than if you just let them disintegrate and they no longer are effective. Thorny Nest, when you hit somebody with a Dire Crow, so damage, not hit, but damage by a Dire Crow, they get Sloppy Butcher put on them, which is awesome. You get to add a 5th perk slot, and with things like decreases healing speed by 30% with the first Rekindle Totem. Alongside this, I mean, you can make people never heal again. You're practically Legion at that point. Pushing people off, and so that's awesome. Silver Bell. When a Dire Crow swarms a survivor, this is not when it damages, but just if they're ever affected by it, they get the Oblivious effect, which means they can't hear your terror radius. And so you can do some mind games with this, being able to catch up with people. Ogrifo Lover, they get the Exhausted status effect. It's a great one to combat Dead Hards and other things, because you're able to get them with the Dire Crow, and then you're able to actually damage them and then just knock them down. Darkest Ink. When Dire Crow swarms a survivor, it afflicts them with a blindness effect, and it's 15 seconds after the birds are repelled. Obviously, no aura readings, which can be useful in certain cases. Then Charcoal Stick. I love this one. The Dire Crow's aura is no longer visible when in flight. The Dire Crow's aura is visible for half a second when summoned. So when you shoot a crow off indefinitely, everyone can see where they're at. So you see a pack of crows coming towards you, you move out of the way, and that is the because it's going through walls. It'd be pretty ridiculous if they were just kind of flying off from the distance. But this makes it so that is no longer available. However, everyone on the map can see where the Dire Crow is summoned. So now it's basically giving everybody a little bit of a object of obsession on you for just that little period of time. But you could also random people through the map. And so there's a little give and take with the Charcoal Stick. Severed Tongue decreases the length of time the artist's movement slows when the Dire Crows take flight. So when you launch your crows, you do kind of slow down pretty significantly before you go back to your 15% speed. But this decreases that by half a second, allows you to catch up to him quicker. Severed Hands. Any survivor that is affected by Dire Crows will basically latch on to somebody else, just like the Plague's infection. Mateus's Baby Shoes. Survivors within 5 meters of an idle Dire Crow have their auras revealed for 3 seconds. So if someone's near one of your Dire Crows and you're in that short loop, but you have a long wall and they haven't walked into it yet, so you don't have vision via Dire Crow, right? This gives you a little bit more intel. Ink Egg increases the maximum capacity of Dire Crow, so it goes from 3 to 4. However, Dire Crows stay idle before disintegrating 4 seconds faster. And then her 2 iridescents are kind of fun. The iridescent feather reduces the maximum capacity by 1, so you go from 3 to 2, but you gain undetectable when you have all the Birds of Torment on cooldown and you're not holding anything. So basically when you've launched the birds, or no, it's when you've launched the birds. Sorry, it's not even when they're in stasis. But when you've launched the birds and it hasn't filled up yet, you get undetectable, so you can make some cool catch plays following that. And then this one is when a survivor affected by Dire Crow completes the repel action, they are afflicted by the exposed status effect for 4 seconds. And so you can basically much like the Trickster, where you line up all your hits until the last hit, right, and then use his card, and then you smack him down. You can affect somebody with the Dire Crow, and if they choose not to repel it, they're stuck with it forever, and then you have tons of intel, and they're, you can press it on other people, etc. But if they choose to repel it, then for 4 seconds you can smack them. It's a small window comparatively to some of the other perks, and feels like you're affected by the survivor more than you are yourself, but still some opportunity in the sense that you can smack a survivor and automatically put him down, which is always a benefit, especially coming in the range of an add-on. So that is the chapter thus far. The other things that came in, a couple Cenobite changes as far as the add-ons go, a couple spirit changes, just quality of life with their phasing, with like the way it looks, nothing else changed. But that is the chapter as a whole. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I'll have a video up to go alongside this, and you guys can watch and see how it goes. Peace. Alright, we got another game incoming. Hopefully this one works out well. I'm also playing a game of chess, trying to win this sucker in the meantime. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, we even got the map. Oh, we're cruising, boys and girls. We're cruising. We got it. Let's go. Don't you dare. Don't you dare DC on me. Oh, we in it. Let's go. Look at this. Look at this place. Look at this place. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Isn't it, Governor? Alright, let's move. We got stuff to do. Don't know if this is a good door to break or not. Okay, we got a free hit here. Okay, so for those who don't know, this right here, it puts a line of birds that basically you can attack with. Oh, this is a fun little pit. Okay, drop that. We're gonna go for Dwight now. Hey, Dwighty boy, how you doing? Gotta make a decision in my chess game. Pretty sure I'm gonna be moving to knight g5, but I'm not positive. Alright, so see like this right here? We can line that, launch the bird, and almost hit him. Alright, we got Starstruck. See what perks we can get on her. Okay, alright. We got the queen pushing in here. Okay. This looks like a door to break. It's right next to a window, right? Let's look at the inside. Look at all these books floating. This is cool. 2 sides. Looks like a massive loop, but you know what? Who cares? And then you got the sound effects of the birds. Don't know if that means there's somebody in here. Like if it's like reflecting on the fact that it's me or what. But it is what it is. Had to move my bishop, sorry. Okay. Let's see. Break down the center. He's got him on this side now. Oh, there's somebody over here though. Alright, so this can't go through walls, right? But it can go through tiles. See how there's a straight line there? We got that going for us. There you are. So like, watch this. Ready? We're gonna put this down. So now that completely excuse me. So see, now it's absorbed the line, but he's got the Murder of Crows on him. So now, if he runs to the window, or if he runs out the back, I need to extend the timer. How you doing? So like right there, I was trying to make a line so that when I launched my birds, it would hit him each time. Just keeping my bishop on lockdown. Douche. McGee. Like this. that bad boy. Let's go. Okay, got a little mini courtyard here. It's a pretty open map, though, all things considered. Like, can't really complain too much, you know. There's a lot of vision. You guys heard that too, right? Crazy. I don't know if I heard it. Could have sworn that I heard like something there. Oh, there's a boon totem. Come on, go over here. Alright, we're gonna set up a trap here. You guys hearing them on it too? I'm hearing people on this thing, man. Like, I'm so confused. There's another freaking boon totem, because that's what we need in our life. Alright, so we're here. Wounded boy up top. Alright, we're gonna do a chase in here now. Alright, we caught Grexotic. We got a weird hook over here. Okay, okay, so you can at least get to it. Mind you, I've got agitation, but life goes on. Wonder if, like, you could bounce on that as a Billy or something, you know? Alright, what's the best way to get down here? You can jump in through a window there, apparently. Got a feeling they're right here, maybe? Nope. What's my setup here? Pretty unhealthy, to say the least. I mean, I can use these as 3 gens, so we'll do that, I guess. Okay, that's unfortunate. We don't like that. It's been happening to people, though. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure she's in this locker. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where did you come from? Where did you go? And she's gone. She's gone, Jim. So this cannot go through walls. Keep that in mind. I need somebody to rescue that Grexotic guy so that I can Mori him. Okay, and you can range this, but it is difficult. You gotta be real close. See, like, we're gonna line that. She's gonna dodge a little bit. So then we can launch this if there's anybody behind us. There's not. Alright, so we know they're at least playing. This is a bonus. Go put this chick on a hook. I need her to go save that dude, though, because that's like my guaranteed chance at a Mori. And I know she was in my Starstruck, so we're going to go after her. We'll let her rescue, we'll knock her down, and then we'll go after him. Alright, we need to get her, though. Him, Dwight, I guess. Okay, he broke that wall, or went through the window. Let me go this way. What up? Star Trek had like 1 second left. Use your perks, boys and girls. Use your perks efficiently. And there's our homie. This game could be over right here. Little mistake. I mean, the DC is pretty much GG. So I'm digging the little cathedral, like, oak-looking thing of that. Her map is sick. This map is just so cool. I like it a lot. Alright, I need to kill him now. Okay, see, I've got 3 lines now. If he walks through any of them, he's just dead. And here is our Mori. And he's apparently missing an arm. That looks more like a map issue, but that was cool. I dig it. Time to show what this does. Maybe not. Run back to it. Run back to it. Run back to it. Okay. So we're just creating lines. The best thing to do against her is literally get away from any setup that she has. I think that's how you play against her. Is that she's much better in loops than she is in like open space, because then she's just a 115 killer, but still useful. I think those birds just make sound no matter what. Okay, good. He saved her. He's a good guy. He's a good man. We'll let her go. We'll murder homie here first. Let's go over walls. No. Nah, I didn't think it could, but, you know, it's worth a shot. Okay. So I'm hoping that he plays this loop, right? Because then he runs that way. Got him. So you see how I launched the line? So essentially she can preset an attack beforehand. He knows. We don't talk about that. Alright, we'll try again. Feed 'em the raven. The crows. Boom. What's up? How you doing? And now we feast. Alright, where you at, chica? You knows you wants the beak. Alright, let's see where exit map gates are in retrospect to space. Alright, so now we can set scouts up because they run in this line. They obtain the crows, right? So you see my power bar is rolling down. Every time that I cast a new one, it resets the timer. So then what we do is we just hover, like a little scouting method. So we'll just wait for this, right? Boom, that's new. And then we just walk, and we patrol. Wonder how long the launch on the cooldown resets it. Yeah, it just pushes it. You see those crows just going for infinity and beyond. Kate, you gotta accept fate. You gotta accept the crow in your life. You gotta accept that which is the crow, right? So we're gonna push this across. Come here, Kate. Oh, there you are. Listen, come here. Come here. Come here. We're gonna eat you. We're gonna eat you. Does she have Lucky Break? She does. That or there's the Boon Totem, which I guess I don't know where it's at. It had to have been the Boon Totem, yeah, because she's bleeding right now. So whatever that boon is. Come here. Come here. Accept the beak in your life. Accept that which is beak. It is your destiny. Come here. Oh, look at you, buddy. Look at your friends. It's time. Apparently I know CPR. Crows per reaping. She's so fun though. I wish that I could have showcased her power a lot more there. I'll get more videos and things like that, but she's just a good time. That is so much fun. Oh, it's such a good time. She's so fun. She's so fun.